Hi everyone. Today's tutorial for quilting is I promised to show you guys how to make that really cute bag that I showed you on my beading website. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to do this in steps because it is a little bit of a complicated bag to make, but it's still good for beginners to make it. So let me show you. Not everything. I'm going to show you step by step what you need as we go. Okay, so when I'm done, I will list everything in the description box that you will need to get started to make this tote bag. And what I really like about this tote bag that I made, my sister made one. I can't even show it to you because my daughter took it because it was pink. I got to stay away from making pink jewelry and pink anything. So, for the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the outside pocket. And for this pocket, you're going to need, let me just show you here. You're going to need your outside fabric. And this is my outside fabric, is this really dark purple. And you're going to need an 8x7 piece of your outside of your pocket. So this is the part you're going to see that your zipper will be in, like this. And it's going to be a zippered pocket attached to your bag. You're also going to need another piece like this, same size, but in a different fabric. You can use anything. It doesn't have to be, because you're not really going to see this. But other ways of doing this is you can line the pocket. I don't want to get through all this lining because you're going to have a hard time as it is to do the other lining piece because it was a little complicated for my sister. So I just want to do this a really easy way for you. Now, this is going to be a scrap piece of material and you just want to cut it a wee bit smaller. We're even going to probably trim this off. So just cut it this size and enough that you can sew your zipper in there, and we'll trim it off when we are finished, because what we're going to do is you're going to need this stuff here, and this is called Heat and Bond, and it's sold from Walmart or fabric stores, and this is called Heat and Bond Light. And just cut yourself out another piece the same size, because what we're going to do is after everything is all sewn, this is all trimmed, we're going to put this over top of this pocket on the back side of the pocket. We're going to heat this up, and then we're going to attach this piece here, and that's going to hide everything underneath, except for the zipper part here. We're going to have to cut our zipper out before we bond it, because once we bond it, we want all the edges to be sealed inside this piece here. So now, first things first is I've got a 7-inch zipper here. You can make it 8-inch, 10-inch, whatever you got for a zipper. And it is a nylon zipper. It's not open end, so, but we won't worry about it because this is going to get cut down to size. And that's what I like about nylons. You can sew over top of them and you can just cut them. Now, first thing we want to do is we want to get our right side of our pocket, this part here. So we want the right side up and showing. And then we want to take our piece of fabric and kind of line it up here. All right, like that. You are going to need a ruler. You're going to need a marker. And you're going to need a very sharp tip pair of scissors. And you'll see why. So, first thing we're going to do is you're going to measure 2 inches down from the top, because we kind of want our zipper to be about, well, 2 inches is a little much, so we'll go 1.5 inches. We don't need it to waste that much pocket. So go 1.5 inches down and draw yourself a little line here. Okay, like that. So we have one line. And then on each side of where we drew this line, we want to come in about another inch on each side. So I'm just lining up the inch mark, and I'm just making a mark there like this. So that's where it's going to be. So we're just making the opening for our zipper right now. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Go an inch in from the dark outside fabric. Don't go by this little piece in the middle. And draw your, oops, that looks crooked to me. And draw your little line here. So we're just making a box. All right. Now we've got 1.5 inches in, an inch on each side, and here we need to make a 1/2 inch opening. So I'm going to line up the 1/2 inch with the previous line I already drew here, and I'm going to draw another line now so I have it 1/2 inch opening for the zipper. So that's what you should have, this cute little box. Now what you want to do is pin these pieces together because we are going to go and sew this. So I'm just going to pin it, and I bought these little things here called pin moors, and I'm telling you, you're going to love these. You just put your pin on and push it into the pin moor, and it prevents you from getting a ton of pin pokes. So I just use these pin moors to prevent myself from getting pin pokes because I really hate pin pokes. But make sure you pin each one down, each corner down, because we're going to sew this little box line here. All right, so I think we are set. This one's going to probably be in my way when I sew, so I'll remove that pin. Okay, so I've kind of got right sides together, but like I said, this part's not really going to matter because it's going to get flipped around and flipped in, and you're not really going to see it because we're going to cover it up with that inner piece of fabric. All right, so let me grab my sewing machine and I will be right back, and I'm going to show you how to sew this, and we'll get our zipper sewed in. Okay, so we've got our sewing machine out here and my foot pedal I need. Now you're just going to line your needle up with one corner or one side, and you're going to sew all along that line you just drew. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Okay, so let me drop my pedal and we're good to go. And now I'm just going to hold my ends. I'm going to take a couple of stitches and I'm going to back stitch. So I'm just sewing all along that blue line I just drew, and I believe this one's going to be in my way. So now when you get to the corner, go as far as one more stitch. Lift your pedal, pivot, and drop it, and then go around, across a few steps. Lift your foot pedal, pivot, and drop. And now we're just going to continue to sew the other side. And if you're like me, I don't know, I hate jabbing myself with pins so much. And I really like these pin moors. And if you get into big time quilting, no, I didn't go far enough. I need to go one more stitch. There we go. Big into quilting, you probably would want to get some of these pin moors, and they're from www.pinmore.com. And I'm just going across now, one more stitch, and now I'm going to meet in with my seam or my stitch line and take a back stitch and remove. So let me just get my sewing machine out of the way here. All right, so let me take these pins out because we don't need them in now that we have sewn this. Okay. All right, so nice, tidy work. Always trim your threads. And you're probably going to want to trim them here too, like that. Now, this is really, really important, and if you're having a hard time understanding this, I'm going to show you a little trick. So, mark 1/4, so where your seam line is on both sides. Mark 1/4 with a dot. So I'm going to go to the quarter line mark. In the center of my 1/2 inch, I'm just going to make a dot right there. Okay? And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to go with a 1/4 inch and make a dot. Okay? Now I'm going to draw a 1/4 inch in on each. This is just helping people to get this perfectly straight and not just guess. Okay? So I am just coming in 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to allow room. I'm going to meet with the dots, line up with the dots, and I'm just going to draw a line from dot to dot, like this. Okay, and then all you're going to do is draw a Y. So all you're going to do is take your marker, draw from that corner to that corner, from that corner to that corner. So there is a Y, like that. And I hope you can see that. You do the same on this side. Dot to the corner, dot to the corner, like that. Okay? Now, this is where you're going to fold it and only cut. So I'm putting a cut into my fabric like this to start the hole. So I'm going to cut straight up to that dot, straight up. So I'm going to use my other scissors, my good ones, so I can get a nice straight cut. And I'm cutting to the dot. Then I'm going to take these pointy ones and I'm going to cut right into those corners, but don't cut your stitches at all. So get as close to that corner as you can. And you'll see why it's important to get really close to your corners. Okay, did that there. And be very careful you don't cut your stitch line. In there. And do the same on the other side. So we're just going to cut along here. Okay. I'm going to cut from corner to corner, and I'm not going to cut my stitch line. I'm getting very, very close to it. All right. And now the same thing here. Just take your time. Don't just because you're in a hurry, cut it anyway. And then, okay, so this is our opening for our zipper. So all you're going to do is fold this up like this, okay, and tuck it inside the hole, like this. You're going to turn your fabric that you just sewed on inside out. And this is why cutting your corners is very important, because you want to have nice square corners here. See this? All right, let me get the rest of it done, and then just kind of push it down with your fingers. But what I like is I don't want any of this white showing whatsoever, so I'm going to kind of fold it here and make darn sure I don't have any of that purple, light white purple or white colored fabric showing. And then I'm just going to finger press that, and I'm going to do the same over here. So if you didn't cut into your corners really good and you got bulk in there, then you got to go turn it around and recut it, and make sure you get super close to your stitch line, but don't actually cut your stitches. Okay, so I'm still fighting with this, and then I'm going to take it over to the iron and give it a little press, because you want this nice and flat and straight, because your zipper is going to go here. So you can always fix it up at the iron more than anything. There we go. I really don't want this white showing. So I'm going to go give it a press. And that's how I'm going to do it, like this, stretching it on this side. Okay? And then we'll be back. Oopsies. So of course I screwed up. You may not avoid the tiny corners that you did. That's probably not going to work too good. But this is your opening for your zipper. So I tried to avoid showing much of the fabric underneath. So this is where our zipper is going to go, and this is how it's going to go, like this. Okay, we want to get it nice and even over here. And then we're going to go around and top stitch all the way around here. But before we do that, we have to do at least a running stitch. And I don't know if you know what a running stitch is, but you will need a needle and a piece of thread and a knot on the end like that. But first and foremost, you should pin it. It's really hard to sew a zipper on nice and even with pins in it. So I'm just going to pin this down and hold it in place while I pin it. So that's where I want to pin. I want to keep it nice and even. You know, I want to keep the zipper straight with the gap even. So that's what you want to do to pin it. So I'm just going to take a pin shot like this. See? This doesn't look too even to me. Okay. Alright, so there's 1, 2 pins in. Keeping it straight, keep pinning it, but you are not going to sew it with the pins in it. Because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be all wonky and funky looking, and it's not going to look right. Your zipper is going to push out. And remember to open the zipper. So when you sew your zipper shut here, you don't sew this underneath your zipper part. So we just kind of want to put these close together as possible. I'm going to stick another pin in that. Like this. Okay, now we're at the end of the zipper part here. And you kind of want to push those together if you can, but not your material, just your, and you can always pin it underneath. Pin this closed, because you don't want it to pop open on you. No. Like that. Okay. So we want it to pin, we want it to be shut. We don't want a big huge gap in there. So we're at the end here now. Pull the fabric down like so. Pull a nice pin in there, and I just go through like this. And I'm going to put another pin in here just for good measure. And another pin. I just don't want this zipper part to open on me. So that's what you guys want to do too. Stick as many pins as you can in, because you're going to do a running stitch anyways. So for a running stitch, all you're going to do is take your needle, go right over top of your fabric, and you're just going to take like a bunch of big stitches. And this is just going to tack your zipper down in place so you can pull the pins out, and when you sew it, we're just going to pull this running stitch out after we're done sewing. So I'm just taking really big stitches here because it will be super easy to pull out. I promise you. after it's sewn. And try not to buckle it. And you don't have to be fancy or neat because nobody's going to see this running stitch once it's done. So try to get as close as you can to the edge, just to keep your fabric and your zipper from shifting. So this is all I'm doing, is doing a quick running stitch. You're welcome to try and do this on your machine, but don't skip any of these steps or you're going to be cussing at me because your zipper didn't go in straight. It went in crooked and it buckled and puckered, and you know. Some people think you can just sew along without having to put a running stitch in here, but I promise you, you'll regret it. Okay. Now I'm getting around the corner here, and I am going to tack right over top of that seam of the zipper to keep it closed like that. Okay, now I'm going to push this back up because I don't want it to pucker there. So I'm still taking stitches, big stitches, and going all around this zipper carefully, like that. And continue to sew it. Okay. And I don't like how that's turning out, so there we go. I'm just going to pick it up like this. It's going to be a little bit easier for me. Ouch. And I'm using a quilting needle, but you can use a beading needle, because this quilting needle is too short. It's for hand quilting, because I was into hand quilting at one point in time in my life, and I didn't like it. It takes too long. You're forever, ever taking stitches, and my stitches were so not even. It was just ugly. So we didn't finish it. I didn't finish it. I ended up pulling all the stitches out and hand quilting, or machine quilting, my blanket or quilt, and it was for my husband's sister, so that was it was a lot of work to pull my stitches out, because I had a couple of blocks done and they were really cute, but I'm telling you, it takes too long, and I didn't have a lifetime to hand quilt because I'm slow at it. And there are some people, especially the Amish, they don't use machines. They hand stitch everything, and I'm telling you, it is beautiful. Or the Mennonites, they do everything with needle and thread. So we're almost all the way around. Okay, and I have met with my thread here. So now we can pull all our pins out, because you do not want to sew with all these pins in here. It's already bulky enough. So I'm pulling my pins out from underneath as well. Okay, and I'm going to give this a little stretch to make sure I don't have, you know, my fabric really tight, that it's going to pucker, because it could very well pucker. Now, let's get the sewing machine. Let me just cut this thread off. Leave it long enough for me to pull it out. Let me get the sewing machine here again. And now, most sewing machines are always equipped with a zipper foot, and I have my zipper foot right here. And you're going to have to remove your regular foot and use your zipper foot. And this is what a zipper foot will look like. It's just, you can put your needle on either side of it. So I'm going to put it on the left side because I want to sew closest to the seam as I can. And if you notice, zippers have this little groove on the zipper foots, have this little groove on the bottom. So when you are sewing, you can sit your zipper foot right on top and stitch nice and close to a zipper if you want. But we're not going to do that because we want to catch our material here. So those are really handy for getting really close to your zipper. Okay, so let's get sewing here. So we want to sew as close to the edge as we can. And I want to start right in this corner here. So let me just see how far I want to be. I want to be right there. So I'm going to use my foot here as my guide. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of stitches and a back stitch, and then continue to sew very carefully and straight. And I am going to pull my fabric in my zipper so I don't get any kinks. As you can see, I don't sew that straight. In fact, I really went close to that edge, but okay. I'm not the greatest at putting in zippers. Now we're close to, oops, dropped my needle down. Open this part of your zipper like this, so it's not in your way of your foot. All right, and then drop your foot back down and continue to sew, and then pivot. And as you can see, I went super close there, and I don't really like that. Crappy. All right, so I'm just going to put those together like this and sew right over top of the zipper. See? Like I said, I'm not no professional at this, and you can see how crooked my line is, like my sister's. Okay, and I'm pulling both sides so I don't get any puckers. And what I'm going to do right now is lift this up and move the zipper out of my way so it doesn't throw me off, push me off the right direction. Alright, so we're at the end again. We're going to pick this up. And I may very well pull this little piece of stitching out because that does look like hell, and you are going to see that. So I don't want that to be like this. And then I'm just going to continue to sew over top of the zipper slowly. Back down. And then I'm going to cross over where my stitches meet. Now, what I'm going to do is trim all the threads off, because there's nothing worse than having threads hanging out everywhere. It does look like hell. So, alright. Now, let me seam rip a little bit of that stitch line because it looks awful. You don't want it to look like this. You want to have nice, you know, it would be nice if I got that close all the way along, but I didn't. So I'm going to make sure I don't pull my running stitch out yet. I don't want to break that. So I'm just going to get close to this one and pull these out. Okay. So if you find yourself you went crooked like this, you can always pull those few stitches out and just redo it. Yeah, you could see where I got super awful mess I made. Zippers aren't easy to sew in. But I have patience. I'll pull it out. This is a quilter's best tool, is this seam ripper. Okay, so now I'm going to go underneath and see if these all pulled out. There we go. There we go. Easy peasy. Alright, now I'll just use this to pluck up threads. And then I'm going to restitch this so it looks nice, because this is the part you're going to see the most, because it's right on the front of your pocket. Alright, now let's try this again. And I'm going to drop my needle right about there, and then I'm going to tack it, do a back tack. Okay, and then I'm going to continue to sew. So and I got close again, but that's all right. And back tack. That's good. Let me see how this looks. Terrible, but it's better than it was. And I should probably be using purple thread, not white, but I want you guys to see my stitch lines, so you know what I'm doing. Alright, so now we can pull our running stitch out. Our trusty old running stitch, which I have right here, and I sewed right over top of it. So I'm just going to pull the knot, pull this out, whatever you do, don't pull out your stitch, or you'll be restitching that. There's my knot. All right, so okay, this wasn't this hard. I don't want to break the thread. There we go. All right. Oh, that one just broke. Lovely. Okay, well, let's pull this one out. So I'm just pulling this running stitch out, and I'm only pulling on the running stitch itself. So if you can get a nice long piece, you can yank it. It could be because I've maybe ran back stitches over it, but it's coming out. There we go. There we go, it's coming out. It's really hard to see where my running stitch are. There we go, and it's gone. Now, trim off your edges really close. Like that. And there is your pocket. Semi-done. Now, for this, now that you've gotten all your edges sewed here on, let me put this. Now we can trim off this zipper because it's sewn. So now you can just go ahead and cut it off there. And you can do the same over here, is cut these off, but don't cut your fabric. Okay, so there's your zipper done. Now, what we're going to do is trim this piece off all the way around the zipper. Well, not too much. Don't get too close. Just leave about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Okay? So we're going to seal all this in now, make it look pretty. So I'm just trimming it off nicely, leaving about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Now, you can skip this step and you can leave your pocket just like this. You don't even have to seal it in if you don't want to put the outside of it. But because I'm so picky and fussy, I don't want to see this piece. So when this is attached to your bag, when you open your pocket, you're going to see this, and it's going to fray on you. So if we seal it with our piece that I was telling you about, okay, so we're going to seal it with this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this, and this bumpy, shiny side is the side you're going to iron down over top of your entire piece. Okay, you're going to iron it all around your zipper. Actually, I'm going to open the zipper because that's going to be in my way. Now, when you iron this stuff, make sure that you get some kind of protective paper. I am using 2 sheets of parchment paper, one to put underneath and one to put on top when I iron, because I don't want the glue on my ironing board and I don't want it on my iron. So I'll be right back. I'm going to sandwich this in here like this, and then I'm going to put this on top, and then I'm going to iron and give it a good heat. So I'll be right back. You don't want to destroy your iron, especially mine. I don't want to destroy it. So this heat and bond stuff is pretty awesome stuff. Let me see here. Kind of don't have it all 4 sides. There we go. Nice and straight. Now, let's heat her up. You don't really need to hold the heat on it too long. You just want it enough to bond it. And my pocket kind of puckered under there, so I'm going to fix this. And I press this. Okay, so as you can see, it's puckered here, but when you peel it back, you just peel this off. Now you have a shiny, shiny piece here. But before I stick this on, I am going to trim all of this off with my scissors because I really don't want to bond my zipper. So I'm just going to cut it, the gluey part, off. See? Like this. Just going underneath. Don't cut your stitches. And I'm going to remove the glue over top of the zipper. Like this. Like that. Now, I'm just going to peel this piece off with my fingers, maybe. Start. Maybe it's not going to come off. It's stuck on there. Anyway, doesn't really matter because we're going to cut this off anyways. So now we're going to take our good side, because this is the, and be careful you don't pucker it like I did there. Put this side on top of the shiny back side of your work, and I'm going to go press this. And this is really going to stiffen up this pocket too, by the way. So you want a nice stiff pocket. So I'm just going to avoid as much as I can ironing over that, because I don't want this to pucker here again. So I'll be right back. And make sure you put it between your papers. All right, I think we are good. We are good. Yep. Well, so I'm just pulling up where I'm going to cut the fabric out nicely here. All right, actually I should open this and put a cut in it first. See how nice and stiff your pocket is? Whatever you do, don't cut your teeth. All right, done. All right, now going to give this a wee bit more of an ironing, because I want that to lift off with the fabric. All right. Okay. Now, all you're going to do is lift up your fabric and start cutting it all around the edge. You don't have to do this, I'm telling you. You can skip this step and don't put any backing on your zipper, pouch or pocket, whatever you want to call it. But you need to get far enough away, so lift it up. There we go. Lift it and cut. Okay. I'm going to continue to cut up here. Pulling it back off of the zipper like this. And we need my little tiny scissors. All right. Going this way. Over top. There we go. See? And then we'll go back with the iron and we'll press that off onto a piece of fabric so the glue is removed. But you don't want any of your material to get caught in your zipper, so you need to trim this off. See? Nice and neatly. Well, I'm going to use these scissors because it does it one nice. Okay. This is my cheating way of doing a zipper lining. And this is very stiff. Not stiff, but it's good and firm. And it's pretty on one side. So you don't have a crappy pocket. Like I said, you don't have to line it, but I like to. So now I'm just going to continue to pull this up and cut straight up this zipper. Pull it back. Pull it open like this. Get to completely to the other end. Like that. I'm making you guys a lot more work than is necessary. I don't think it'll be that bad. I'm just doing things good, neat, and tidy. This is the way I like it to do it. Okay, I have a wee bit more to go here. A wee bit more. And I'm just using the tip of my scissors to wiggle my way down till I get past where the zipper opening is. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to cut this way and that way. I'm going to cut a wee bit more on this side and a wee bit more there. There we go. Now we're at the end here. And then we're going to go repress it. And tack down any glue that we lifted by pulling this back. Like that. Everything's nice and neat now. See? So the front and the back is nice and neat. So let me go press this and get rid of any glue. Okay, I'm just making sure that my zipper is opening and closing and there's no glue left in my zipper. So, as you can see, the glue has completely sealed this. So it's nice and neat. I think it looks good. And once you wash it, if you wash your tote bag, which I don't recommend machine washing it, it would probably be a good idea to hand wash it. Because now you don't want anything falling apart on you. So let me go and trim up these edges now, so our pocket's nice and straight. So we're going to trim all this so it's back nice and even. Right, with the purple. I'm just lining it up with the purple, cutting it off. It's going to be kind of hard with the zipper, but that's just the way the ball bounces. Okay, oops, didn't get any off here. Okay, this side looks pretty good. Now we'll just do this bottom piece, even it all up. Alright, now our last step to do for the pocket, which is not that hard to do, is we need to go and press 1/4 of an inch in like this. All our corners. Press down 1/4 of an inch with the iron all the way around your pocket. So when you sew, we top stitch our pocket onto the bag, it'll be hidden. And if your stitching is crappy like mine here, I would use a contrasting thread, which means purple thread, use purple. If you're using purple fabric, use purple thread, just so you don't see any of your stitches, how crooked that is. Yeah, that white looks awful in there, but like I said, I wanted you guys to see basically how wide, how much you need to go in and do your fabric. So I'm going to go press this 1/4 under, and then I'm going to come back. Okay, so I've turned everything under 1/4 inch like this. Now, see how your corners are? They're going to kind of stick out. All I really do for this is you can open it up and just cut across the top like this, and then fold it under. That corner will sit very nicely when it comes time to sewing it. So I didn't get quite enough off. There we go. And fold. And do the same thing here, or you can just take the corner and snip it off like that. Okay, because you don't want these sticking out, and when you tend to sew it, I notice they have a tendency to stick out on me, so I'm just going to trim them off and get it over with. Over and out. And trim that one off, and I'm just going to trim my threads. Alright, so step 1 was learning to make your front pouch pocket very tidy and neat. So when we sew this on, we're going to sew about the length of, or the width of our foot pedal, and 1/4 inch in, and we're going to catch all the seam all the way around, so when we open up our pocket, it's going to be a nice finished edge on our pocket. This may very well come undone over the years of use and use, but it's not a big deal, because you can just peel it off if you don't want it on there. You can just rip it off. So this was part 1 of your tutorial on how to do your pocket, and I'm going to be back to show you how to do the front and the back of your tote bag, and how to sew this pocket onto the front of your tote bag so you have a really nice pocket. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!